Hey everyone, it's Shane from MatTrack, and today we're going to be talking about how logistics companies can end the race to the bottom and actually make some money working in supply chains for the construction industry. So what are the big problems for today? Well, Michael Argaru, the CEO from Hickory, actually explained it well. For most supply chains, you're going to have a manufacturer, supplier, installer, logistics, general contractor, and they're all going to have copies of their own spreadsheets that say where all of the products for the project are meant to be, and every one of those spreadsheets is going to be wrong. Now, the problem with this process generally is that every one of these companies is going to have their own spreadsheet to try and keep track of where things are at. The logistics company has no idea exactly what is being packed and what is sent other than what they see in this spreadsheet that's sent to them. And so in terms of their storage costs, they don't know what they're meant to be doing from there. The installer on site is only going to have their own version of this based on what they need to track, but the installer has absolutely no visibility of what has actually been received. So it makes it really difficult for them to actually coordinate with the logistics company to get the product that they actually need. And so ultimately what this means is for the logistics company, they're basically sitting, hitting refresh on their email all day, trying to figure out what products are actually going to be arriving and what products are actually going to be requested from the job site. On top of that, because you don't have any visibility of what's happening on the job site, so it means that you don't know how long you're going to be storing the goods for. You're literally just guessing when the builder's actually going to need it, because every single construction site is generally going to be running behind schedule, so you're not going to know when you actually need to get rid of the goods. And so to thank you for all your hard efforts, you may end up having to pay penalties for anything that actually goes missing, because it's really hard to know what has actually been shipped, what's been received on site, when things got damaged, and as a transportation company, you often get the blame for whatever happens to those products. So let's compare that with how things should be running. So at the start of the job, you have a full bill of quantities for everything that actually needs to be stored and managed for that whole project. So that information is shared between the manufacturer, the installer, general contractor, and the logistics company. As soon as items are being produced, you actually have visibility of them. This means before it hops on a ship, you know exactly where things are at, and so you can manage your storage costs based on that visibility around what you're going to need at what time. As soon as it's received, those items get ticked off, and the general contractor and the installer have visibility of everything that's in your warehouse. That means they can call up the exact products that they need, and they'll know exactly what delivery it's on and what time it's going to arrive. That means you've got way less issues with deliveries getting turned back. So not only does this whole process run a lot more smoothly, but there's extra value that you can be adding and that you can be charging for. For instance, if you receive any good and it turns out that it's defective or damaged, as soon as you update it, the manufacturer knows, so they can put a replacement on the very next shipment, and that reduces the overall costs and risks associated with the project. Similarly, as items are being installed on site, you can actually see it, so you can predict what the products are that are going to be needed next. That way you can manage your storage costs better, keep costs a lot lower, and actually reduce the cost for installers because they're getting products exactly as they need them. So all that sounds nice in theory, but how is it actually possible? Well, MatTrack actually does all of the heavy lifting for you. If the manufacturer is on the system, they can be putting QR codes on the products so that you have that visibility before it leaves. If they're not on the system, you can put the QR codes on the products and track them as you unpack the shipping container. And that's an extra service that you can charge for. Once the products are in your warehouse, you can choose what information to share around how they're being packed, how they're being stored. That way the builder and installer have visibility of the product, but it also means you can get rid of a lot of paper processes from your team, because any of the guys in your warehouse are going to be able to bring up their phone, see exactly the products that are being requested for that day, know exactly where they're being stored, pack them, put them in a delivery, and send them on their way. It means your logistics team is directly connected with the site team, who can use the mobile app to do their call-ups in 2 seconds. And the best part is, because there's a record of everything that happens to every single product, it means you're not going to have to be spending money for items that go missing that weren't your fault, and you can better track things that are damaged before they actually get to you. But what do you do if the other companies are not on the system? That's totally fine. You just upload your existing spreadsheets to MatTrack so that you can start using it for your internal warehousing. Invite your colleagues, invite your clients, invite your supply chain parties, and then everybody's going to benefit from having that totally interconnected supply chain and end the race to the bottom. So you can get started straight away. Have a conversation to your client to see what it would be worth to them if you could be reducing their storage costs, preventing the risk of liquidated damages, and giving them more certainty about the products that were being received. And when you're ready to get started, you can go to mattrack.com, sign up for free, add all of your information, and start tracking your projects.